Good evening, I'm Tyler West and this is Talon TV. I'm joined tonight by Kalista Cherry and Meaghan Irving, the 2021 candidates for Kalista's running for president and Meaghan's running for vice president for Brockport Student Government. How are you guys doing tonight?
We're doing well. How are you?
Good. Excited to be here. Happy to, get this going. Elections are coming up on us. Are you getting excited?
Yes, very much so.
Perfect. All right, so Kalista, I'm going to have you start off by introducing yourself, your story, just, description of who you are.
My name is Kalista Cherry. I'm a political science major and I'm double minoring in earth science and international studies. I am from Port Jervis, New York. This is now my third year being involved with BSG, currently as the acting treasurer. I'm a student manager at BASC, specifically at Harrison Dining Hall, and I am a peer mentor.
Okay, so you got a lot on your plate, a lot going for you. So what made you decide, to make the jump from the acting treasurer to run for president?
I think ultimately why I wanted to make the jump from treasurer to president is to really step in as the lead role and really bring together our community more. And that would be within BSG and to the student body as well, because there's a big gap of communication, there's a lack of involvement, and I really want to bring us together as a whole.
Right, so you think you can help clear up the communication pathways between, students and BSG and the administration, vice versa, all of that.
Yes.
A lot of transparency there, communication. Okay, perfect. And Meaghan, we'll go to you now. Just introduce yourself.
Hello, as you know, my name is Meaghan Irving. I am actually a fifth year and going into my graduate at SUNY Brockport for mental health counseling. I am a double major in criminal justice and psychology. I transferred to Brockport in 2019. Since then, I have been a part of BSG literally since that February of transferring. I started off as a senator, worked my way up to interim president and vice president, and now currently sitting as a parliamentarian. I'm also involved in our Greek life with Phi Sigma Sigma. I was a Rogan and have held many leadership positions within there as well. I'm part of some honor societies on campus, involved with athletics, especially the Brockport dance team. I love them all. But yeah, I'm also involved in SUNY SA, which is the New York State student government for all SUNY and CUNY schools.
All right, so a lot going on there too, a
Yes.
lot on your plate. What made you decide to run for vice president?
I loved being vice president when I was interim for a short 2-month period due to changing in COVID. I loved it. I love working with students. I love being able to host Senate every Friday and just be a part of the conversations on the student level is definitely where I thrive.
Mm-hmm. So you already have a little bit of experience, what it would be like to be vice president of BSG. Yes. It's a hard time right now with COVID and everything changing, but it looks like things are going to be getting back at least a little bit normal next semester. Are you guys looking forward to that?
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. I'm excited to see all the students at the big events that we're looking to hopefully get back.
Right. So yeah, there's a lot of things on your plate, both of you. So do you think that you would have, the amount of time and effort to put into BSG, along with doing all of these other things?
Yeah, I think I can absolutely do it, as I've always been a hard worker. I've always held multiple jobs at a time, and with that, I also separate each individual thing. So, like for example, at Harrison, it's just Harrison. When I'm at BSG, it's all BSG. Or with friends, usually it's just strictly like friend, no work.
Right.
Connections.
You like to compartmentalize things, keep them, put all of your effort in one area for the time that you're doing it. Mm-hmm. That's a good trait to have. And for you, Meaghan?
I was going to say, unlike us, we actually have connections in all three.
Yeah,
she is my boss at Harrison.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But going into the fall, since I will be a graduate student, I will be losing a lot of my connections with everything I do. I mean, I'll still be around, still be on campus, but I won't be as involved with Greek life and holding my leadership positions with SUNY SA. I'll still be there as the parliamentarian, hopefully, if I get re-voted in and hired. I'll still have BSG, and then on the side, my only other thing I do is work as a home care aide on the weekends with developmental disability individuals. But other than that, I'll have more free time next year than I do currently now.
Right. Amazing. So how did you guys meet each other?
In the BSG office.
Yes, because I became a senator in the
The fall
of 2019.
Okay.
Ironically, our friendship bonded over her giving me a DSi charger.
It did.
Like the Nintendo DSi.
yes.
Okay, for a second I was like, what is that? That's
Yes.
amazing.
I was vice chair at the time.
Yes.
And I was coming out of a meeting with Sam, and I had seen her playing on her DS, and I was like, oh my God, I have one, except it's dead. I don't have a charger. And just out of nowhere, she whips one out of her bag and was like, here, have it. And I was like,
Wow.
oh my God.
And here we are running for president and vice president of BSG. Who would have thought?
Yep.
So was there like a specific moment that the two of you were like, yeah, we're going to run together on this ticket for BSG, we're really going to do this thing? Or was it more of, something you've always thought about, or was it?
For me personally, I knew it was something I always thought about. And then I asked you.
Yeah. During last election season, it's something like I kind of like fiddled with in my own mind. I'm like, oh, maybe. And then I ended up running for treasurer. But I think really late last semester, we kind of solidified the idea and told each other that we wanted to run together.
Yeah, because I had ran. I had ran for vice president last year. Unfortunately, my running mate for president had dropped out. But I was still able to fulfill the role in the meantime before Alex and Daniel got voted in.
Okay. All right. So, Kalista, if you had to describe yourself in 3 words, I know it might be hard, but if there's just 3 words, that can encompass and embody who you are as a person, what do you think they would be?
I guess my 3 would be dependable, enthusiastic, and compassionate.
Okay. Those are all good traits of, student government president. And Meaghan, what about you?
I was going to say dependable for you because you've always been there for me. So I'd have to say I'm caring, sympathetic, especially with the line of work I do outside of school and within school. And then a 3rd one.
You're very driven.
I try. Yeah, I'll say driven for my 3rd one. With everything I do, as Kalista said earlier, I am also a workaholic. I always love being in the conversation and making something come out of it, especially with all the committees that we sit on jointly and separately. It's just, I love being in the middle of the action and finding solutions.
Right. Perfect. So can you guys give me an example, of a time you guys have worked together to solve a problem?
I have to say, when I was vice chair and you were on my committees, it was when you were a new senator, and I was chair of appropriations and legislation for, I want to say, a year and a half. I was for both.
Yes.
Yeah, and we had to work with clubs with coming up with new names, constitutions, and even being a part of appropriations, we work with the budget that we get from students' activities fee to departmentalize, is that the word I'm looking for, into each category.
Yeah.
Into BSG. And so we've worked together on that. This is going to be our 3rd year.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3rd year working on it together.
So, Kalista, what's one problem on campus that, you want to strive to change in the coming year?
So something that Meaghan and I have both realized from working in BSG for the past few years is that each year something's missing, and it's hard to hit it on the head, because by the time you realize what it is, we're already transitioning into a new phase or a new administration. So I think one of the biggest problems that we really need to kind of hit hard on is making BSG a unified structure again, because now that I've been on the inside, it can be very, It can be very polarizing at times, and you feel very separated from department to the department. So that's something I definitely want to work on.
Yeah. And Meaghan, for you?
Definitely the thing I want to work on is our advocacy department. Currently, I have talked with our current director a handful of times of what their ideas are for the actual department. With being parliamentarian currently, I'm not as in the conversations as I used to be. So definitely this year I've gotten a more outside/inside perspective of BSG. and our advocacy department needs support. It needs help. It needs restructure. It needs rebuilding. That's something I want to focus on. And our campus as a whole needs that, especially when it comes to inclusivity, diversity, and equity. It needs the support. And if we restructure our advocacy department, I feel like it could definitely help with the campus and the bond within BSG as well. Currently, we have one director and now 3 coordinators. Potentially, me and Kalista have talked about it, maybe even upping our department to make it a bigger department. It's something obviously we have to discuss further because that means their advocacy budget needs to be increased. But it is definitely something we are looking to work on to actually have our advocacy department produce more things on campus so that they are just as big as like our programming department or activities department.
How do you guys plan to be active in the Brockport community, the greater Brockport community outside of just the school?
Well, something me and Kalista have talked about, she will still be more involved as an undergrad, but I will be more involved as a graduate, actually. We want to connect more with Brockport Downtown. We do have 3 members from Brockport Downtown that sit on BSG and tell us about events and things going on their campus. We'd want to strengthen that communication. Currently, I have been communicating with whoever runs their Instagram just to get conversations flowing so when in the fall, when I am to become a graduate, we can strengthen those bonds. And I know Kalista also had ideas to strengthen bonds with other clubs on campus since she has been treasurer. If you want to talk about that.
Yeah, because there's a lot of clubs that, due to no fault of their own, but COVID has really taken a toll on all of us, and that especially means some smaller clubs. As some clubs are even now facing, from our tier point system, potentially not being able to get funding.
So, these clubs are struggling with getting funding. And is that funding through BSG? I'm not familiar.
Yes, it is through our activities fee that we collect from all students on the campus. Whether you are a commuter or a resident or,
Off campus.
Or off campus as well. You put, or I shouldn't even say put, a certain percentage of your tuition bill is a student activity fee is what it's labeled.
Right, you can see that through, web banner.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And that is what goes towards our events on campus, whether that be grocery bingo, whether that be homecoming, or Brocktoberfest, or anything like that. It's all that money that we collect from students is for those events, and that's why we are also pushing Vote Yes this year. And it's really important that students know to vote yes. I know a lot of students are against voting yes because it's their money. What if they don't have the money? And it is a question that we fight every 2 years because that's how often we have to vote yes. It's, well, I don't have the money. I can't spend the extra $100 towards BSG if I'm not even going to get anything. And that's actually something me and Kalista want to work on, is we love students being involved in our activities that we host. The problem is that sometimes we do big events and we have big prizes for said events that we host. But me and Kalista are actually looking to spread the love of students being able to get events and maybe think of more practical items, like whether that be for dorm rooms, whether that be for like off-campus apartments, and just stuff that is more usable and more long-term, essentially, is what we're looking at doing.
Okay, so just to recap, you're saying that you guys, want to spread awareness for what the student activities fee does cover and why students should be voting yes for that.
Yes.
That's something that you're big advocates for. That's good to know, going forward in your campaign. So what are some of the activities you guys, would have planned, for the coming fall? I know a lot of the COVID-19 guidelines will hopefully be, a little bit more relaxed, and, we'll have a little bit more ability to, go forward and actually do things.
For events in the fall, we haven't really sat down and talked about them yet, but speaking from a before COVID era, we actually had a couple events in the late fall semester and early spring semester where commuter or off-campus students could come in around like a circle and get supplies for their car, like ice scrapers, like little snow brushes. What else did they have?
Keychains, lanyards.
Keychains, like little funnels for your oil.
That's nice.
So there's like little events like that that are actually like really practical for over half of our students.
Right.
Because over half of our students have cars.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Especially with me and Kalista also both being off-campus residents, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, right. So what are some core values, that you guys will bring to the table for BSG?
I'd say our ideas mostly. We've had a lot of experience with those in the past, because I've been here since Josh Matthews was president, then Emma, and now Alex. So I definitely can bring that experience from learning from all of them, plus their VPs, to help both of us.
Great. Why should students trust you guys?
People view us as mostly that we are just an organization that hires their friends, that's all that's in the group. As I know I've heard some students say in the past, like, it's just friends, why should I even apply, why do I even bother? I think students should trust us because we see the bigger picture. We've been a part of crucial conversations that involve the bigger picture, and we have ideas and pathways set forth. One thing I forgot to mention is that I'm also the president's intern. So for the past semester, I've also been a part of the campus crucial conversations, dealing with graduation and dealing with graduate students, soon to talk about athletes and things like that, that we can put everything that I've been learning to the test, and Kalista can use her voice potentially, if we are to get elected as president, and share the students why they should trust us and why we are on their side.
Right, and you guys have already, been in these organizations and obviously, contribute to the campus for so long that should be, another reason you have a good track record with that. And then you working with President McPherson, that's a big thing, going into, wanting to be vice president, clearing those lines of communication between administration and BSG and students. I think that's a big thing right now that's been an issue, especially over the past year, was the feeling of like a lack of transparency almost. So it's very important to, have open, clear pathways, to be really transparent with the campus community and, higher up officials, and be able to kind of be like a translator between them.
I 100% agree, and that's actually something me and Dr. McPherson are actually working on, is what can she do to help better the campus to get before pre-COVID, because every aspect of this campus has suffered since COVID. Clubs, students, faculty, staff. I can't name, honestly, one single person on this campus that hasn't been affected. And so that's why I know that's mine and Kalista's biggest push, besides vote yes and fixing BSG and fixing the advocacy department, is just bringing back that feeling of inclusivity and before COVID, and trying to bring those times back.
Why should students vote for you?
We believe that students should vote for us because we have organizational skills on our side, we have history on our side, and we have a drive and a compassion for students. So we want to produce more, but we also don't want to stray too far away from the past, because we don't want to lose the meaning of BSG, which is by the students for the students, but we also need to restructure BSG to then help restructure this campus. And we just hope that students will see that and see how much we love the organization and just support us for the next upcoming year.
And we want students to know that their voices can be heard, and they will be heard with us, and that their voices and their questions and concerns will be brought to these college-wide, big, crucial conversations on campus environment.
All right, pretty solid argument from you guys. All right, thank you guys for tuning in. This is Talon TV. I'm Tyler West, and again, I'm here with Kalista and Meaghan. You can vote for them on My Brockport, and that goes from April 12th until April 17th.